Hi all. Our notable game today follows again the Grand Prix attack week, and let's have a look at another game from David Rumens, who dominated two of the British Grand Prix circuit years, winning with this system. And this game is against Michael Franklin. This was played in the London Central YMCA ELO tournament, London 1976. We see E4 from David Rumens, Sicilian defence. We go into the Grand Prix, this F4 move, E6. And we see from black here an example of a quick D5. Bishop B5 now, so threatening to double black's pawns. Black protects against that structural damage with knight Ge7. So what does David Rumens consider best to do here? Well, it's the main move in light book now. E takes D5, E takes D5, and again renew the threat of doubling pawns with this pin. So bishop takes C6 to double black's pawns. The main move is considered Queen D6 here, for example D4. This position is thought to be about equal. This kind of continuation. There's been a few games here where it's thought to be about equal, but in this game we see actually after Queen E2 another alternative, Bishop G4, a bit rarer than Queen D6. White now is able to double black's pawns. He does so. Castles. And black plays in a very interesting manner from this position. Black plays Queen A5 with the aggressive idea, seemingly, well, in some ways aggressive, to castle queenside, believe it or not. Is white in any position to punish this? White plays D3. Black castles queenside. How can we exploit black's king on the queen side here? Well, the first thing, this queen is subject to a little bit of harassment. Bishop D2, threatening knight takes D5 is played. Queen goes back. And now H3, trying to unpin here to free the queen up. Bishop takes F3. Note that if the bishop goes back, there may be G4 here. We'll be trapping the bishop. Let's just 100% check this position. Yeah, G4 is possible. And F5. Just trapping, winning a piece. It doesn't matter about the check. We've always got Queen G2. So black actually didn't want to move the bishop back either. If you move the bishop back, maybe knight A4, and white can start targeting this C5 pawn with Queen F2, etc. Like a kind of reverse Nimbus of Indian, where there's a weak pawn. The head of the doubled pawns is often an exploitable weakness and a target. So this C5 is a bit of a target. Bishop takes F3, Queen takes F3, knight F5. So black has increased his control of D4 actually by taking on F3. We have Queen F2. So with knight A4 coming, is white really pressurizing C5 soon? H5, knight A4, yes. And commit black's pawn structure a bit more now with D4 being played. Rook A E1, and now Rook E5 to again try and target C5, and F5 is a loose piece here. Bishop D6 takes away Rook E5, but now we have Rook E4. And with this, white can try and control that E file with Queen E1, which would also be a battery here for Bishop E5. H4, and he plays this Queen E1, so a clever move, reinforcing E file control and introducing Bishop A5. Queen D7, we have Bishop A5, Rook D E8, and here there's a tactical idea revolving around C5 and the position of black's king and queen. This particular configuration has a slight issue with it tactically. Can you see the clever little move which white plays in this position? If I give you 5 seconds starting from now to pause the video, what would you play with white? Okay, Bishop B6 hits C5, and it can't be taken because of the fork of the queen and the king here. So black actually played rook takes e4 in this position. Perhaps it would have been interesting knight e3, you might think. And this is dangerous. White would perhaps have to consider an exchange sack, for example, like this, giving up the rook. And this position is going to be at least okay for white. There's good compensation for the exchange. The bishop is quite nice here. White's pretty secure. So anyway, in the game though, we have rook takes e4. Black has a different idea to probe the e-pawn to see if that can be attacked soon, coordinating the rook and the knight. White played though rook f3. We have queen e7, e5, leaving this bishop to be taken, in fact, because hang on a sec, this tactic only works, AB only works, allowing this bishop if there's a fork. Now black has just played queen e7, so is actually threatening a takes b, and David Rumens' move actually doesn't seem to do anything at all about that. It just protects his e-pawn, because he's not even threatening e takes because of that pin. So what is this? He's just sacrificing an entire bishop here. Has white gone mad? Note, however, this rook can potentially swing and the queen can potentially swing against black's king here. White has basically made sure the centre is not collapsing. Black now accepts the challenge. Black takes the piece. We have knight takes b6. So black a piece up. Queen a5 though immediately threatens things like queen a8 check to win the rook, which is loose at the moment. We have bishop b8, and now the rook swings across rook b3, threatening knight d5 check. So that would be attacking the queen, and that would be extremely dangerous. We have queen c7, but now queen a8. Black is a piece up, but seemingly on the receiving end of a strong attack here. King e7 trying to defend things. Knight c4 introducing rook b7. There's a king chase. Queen c8. Check. The king is being chased. Knight b6 now. The queen goes to d8. Queen a6 is played with the idea of coming to c4 check to coordinate with the rook on f7. Maybe even stronger here was queen a4 with the idea of that, and also queen takes c6, the engine suggests. But queen a6 is nevertheless very dangerous. Rook f8, check. The king is being chased across the board. Although black is a piece up here, he seems to be in real trouble. Knight d7, hitting the rook, threatening knight takes, and then rook takes f7 check. Queen a5, threatening queen e1 check, and then queen h1 checkmate, if white's not careful. But here, with this threat of the killer check, white has one or two checks up his sleeve. Queen d3 check, giving up f4. Queen f3 check. Queen g4 check, and now it's clear that the h-pawn is dropping, which is holding the knight there. Queen takes h4 check. This is looking pretty nasty. We have knight retreating, so there's no more killer check at the moment, and it's covered anyway. But white now plays knight takes f8, regaining material with interest. And there's no queen e1, of course. So white is actually now, after all that, the exchange up, with maybe g4 coming along to win this knight. Bishop takes e5 is played. g4. g6, which opens up the 7th rank a bit more. Rook takes f7. Not only the exchange up, but threatening. Rook h7 checkmate, and also g5 checkmate. Here on move 40, maybe the time control has been reached. So they're going to get extra time. Black actually resigned here. It does seem fairly hopeless against these two threats. Is it actually a forced mate? Let's just check. Yes, it's absolutely a forced mate coming up because of g5 and bishop. G5 and rook h7. There's nothing really black can do here except delay things. So d3, g5 checkmate, for example. Bishop g7, g5 checkmate. Can't handle both threats. g5, rook h7 is checkmate. Or, well, queen takes h5 as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's for sure, it's mating after rook takes f7, a timely resignation indeed. So what did we get from this example game? Well, it's another classic David Rumens game. Thankfully the score sheet wasn't destroyed, so we can get some ideas. Some interesting novel ideas about this game: black accepting double pawns and castling queenside, white sacrificing an entire piece to get his pieces attacking the black king, the queen, and swinging that rook was quite masterful and extremely dangerous, chasing the king across the board, eventually getting the material back and forcing this mating net. So an impressive tactical display, very, very exciting chess here between these two. Hope you got something from it. Comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.